Okay, so to start with, I got this box soap mold, but it's got a silicone mold inside, which is perfect for what I'm going to use it for. And it's got this lid that I can just slide on after each pour and stop any dust from getting into it, so it's really convenient. I really like that. So what I did was I poured about 1/4 of an inch of epoxy in here, and I'm going to use that kind of like a canvas, if you know what I mean, that I'm going to build upon. So the first thing I need to do, in my mind's eye, I'm going to put like a grass line right here. And I got some of this thin stencil paper, again off of Amazon. Couldn't find any in my local shop, but I might have been looking in the wrong place, I don't know. But what I thought I would do is kind of put like a wavy scene on there to simulate hills. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to use some of this Gorilla mounting putty. Funny story on me buying this. I went to Walmart to get some blue tack, and there was a lady in the crafts area where this was. So I asked her where the blue tack was, and she didn't even look at me when she replied, we're out of blue tack. So without even looking at me, she said that. So I kind of felt a little bit teed off with that, and continued to walk around in that area because I wasn't really convinced. The way she said it, I wasn't really convinced that she's telling the truth, so to speak. A lot of these associates will just say that rather than spend the time helping you. I've found that out many times at Walmart. So I was looking around and came up to the end of the aisle where she was again on the next aisle, and she says, I know where it's supposed to be, but we don't have any. Again, not looking up at me or in the face. She's looking down at what she was doing. So I continued looking. And lo and behold, on the next aisle, yeah, they didn't have blue tack, but they did have Gorilla mounting putty, which is the same dadgum thing. So I was going to go, I thought, well, I picked it up and I was going to go back and, kind of point out to her that they had this. But she had gone by the time. So there you go, I've rambled on. So what I'm using is this mounting putty to kind of create waves in this. And then what I thought I'd do, I want that to be a little bit more of a pronounced wave. Then what I thought I'd do, and I've already tested this rubber cement on some other silicone to make sure it would come off, because the last thing I want to do is ruin this silicone, is I'm going to paint along that edge. I'll do this in here and try and create a good seal so that when I pour my resin in here, which is going to be tinted green, it don't leak into my other part of the mold. Now I don't know if this is going to work. This might be a bit ambitious, but I'm going to try it. I'm going to be very generous with this because it does just peel right off. But we got to stop my pour from getting into this area over here, which is going to be a different color. What I'll do is I'll let this set, put another coat on it, then I'll pull that blue tack up and coat underneath that as well. Okay, so what I did was I let that rubber cement dry, then I went around the back edge of this with my knife carefully, trying not to dig into my epoxy that's already set there. Then I took a toothpick and just kind of cleaned that edge up a little bit. Just rolled that rubber cement from that. I think I got it pretty good. So what I'm going to do now is I've mixed up some epoxy, and I am going to put some green in that. One, two. I'm going to put 2 drops for now, and we'll see what that mixes up like. So there you have it. Hopefully I mixed up enough. I mixed up 4 ounces. I just want a thin coat. And hopefully that rubber cement is going to hold. We'll find out. This is self-leveling. When I mixed that, such a small amount, it ended up with a lot of air bubbles in that. Hopefully, we'll get most of those out. We'll let that sit for about 10 minutes, and then I'll do a blowtorch on that. So I'll see you in about 10 minutes. Okay. Okay, let's give this a little torch. That did clear up all the bubbles, but I'll keep an eye on that. We did get a little seepage around here, but hopefully I'll be able to clean that up once it sets. This is a fairly quick setting, so hopefully I'll be able to clean that up. If not, I'm going to have to rethink, because what I'm going to do, well, actually, while that's still a little bit damp, I need to put my first layer of Skittles on there. I want to get a 3D effect. And maybe a couple of them coming down. Alright. That looks good. I'm going to put this lid on to stop any dust from getting in there. And we'll let that sit for a little bit, and I'll come check that and make sure there's no more bubbles appeared. And then we'll let it completely set before we move on. I'll see you then. Okay, so that seemed to come out pretty good. Let me adjust my camera here. This came out, pulled out pretty nicely. I went ahead and just poured my rubber cement, pasted it over the tack that I used on there. And I did have a little bit of weepage up here, but the good thing about using the rubber cement is when you brush it on, it put such a wide lip around where I was brushing that it was really easy to any weepage that I just dabbed it and kept it on the excess rubber cement, and then when I pulled this off, I just rubbed it all up, and it just balled up into, little balls. Came off real easy, cleaned up real easy. So I've cleaned that all up, used alcohol on that. Now I'm going to do the other color, the sky color. And I just want this to be a slight tint, so I'm going to put 1, 2 drops for now. I don't want it to be too much. Just a slight tint of blue. just want a really thin layer of this. Oh yeah, it's going to be pretty. Alright. We'll let that sit for about 10 minutes. And then we'll use my torch and get rid of any of the air bubbles that haven't got rid of them by themselves. That's going to look pretty. Okay, so let's see how it's looking. Looking pretty good. Now I'm going to, well, I was thinking I ought to put the little darker hills in the background, so I'm going to try that. And I'm going to try that using this quick setting UV resin. I don't need a lot of that, so I'm just going to try and paint that on. I want it much darker than what I got the hills now. Alright, so hopefully you can see that. Kind of looks like shadowies in the background, which is kind of what I was going for. What I'm going to do here is try and make a rainbow. What I'm going to try and do is use this UV, do different colors of the rainbow. And paint them on. I just put that piece of plastic on there kind of as a guide for my very first color, which is going to be red. Let's see if we can do this without making a mess, John. I'm not really trying to make a dark rainbow. I'd like it to be kind of subtle in the background. Kind of like what a real rainbow is. I'm making the colors a little bit wider than you would think, because I'm going to overlap the next primary color and hopefully get that orange in between. Let's shine some light on that, and we'll see how it comes out. That's my red. Red and yellow makes orange. Alright. Start up here where I can see what I'm doing. Kind of get my technique right. Alright. Let's see what that came out like. looks a bit crude, but once I get once I put my layers on there, I think that'll look pretty damn good. There you go. Okay, so I kind of cleaned up all the edges on that rainbow. I got it laid out on this layer the way I want it. What I got is my packet here open, and I got some Skittles coming out, and they're coming down, and as they touch the rainbow, they're puffing up, and then I'm having a big pile down here. Should be really cute. So I'm mixing up a coat. I'm going to pour on here to kind of hold all that in place is the plan. That's the plan. Just to kind of get that all to hold in place, because those Skittles are going to want to float. There we go. I'll let that sit for about 10 minutes, then we'll come clean up all those bubbles and put her away. Put her to bed for tonight until it's dry tomorrow afternoon after work, and then we'll put another coat on it. I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, so we're about ready to pour my second layer on there. I've got everything kind of stuck down where I want it. I might throw a little bit more in between these two layers just to give it a little more of a 3D effect. We'll see what happens. I'm going to make this layer a little bit thicker. So I'm going to put 2 of these mixes in. Okay, so there we have it. It's nice and dry after doing a bunch of layers to cover that. Now comes the real test. We got to try and get it out of that silicone mold, which I've never done before. So let's see how easy or hard it is to get it out. It really stuck to where the Skittles were in contact with the silicone, and it probably looks like I'm ruining the silicone mold. Yeah, I tore the mold. So, not too happy with that. It's not the mold's fault, it's probably the sugar fault. We'll get this all sanded up and ready for the top coat. Okay, so I've sanded this all down. I come to the conclusion while I was sanding this, as far as that silicone mold, I think what happened was the Skittles created so many bubbles that I was constantly popping bubbles with my heating torch, and I probably got that silicone too hot. That's probably what happened with that silicone mold. But this bottom here, the Skittles actually, when I sanded this down, came through. You can see the white spots. So I want to seal those up before I put my top coat. So I'm going to use my UV resin, and I'm just going to overfill these, and then we'll sand it back down. Because I don't want more air bubbles in my top coat. I think I got them all there. I mean, it's already trying to put a bubble in just my resin, my UV resin, so I'm not too worried about that because I'm going to put a light on it here in a second, and that will stop any bubbles. Alright. Sure. Okay. This is just going to hopefully add a seal coat to that. Then I'll get my sander out and sand that down smooth again. So I'll press pause on the camera and I'll hold this light on here for a few minutes. Then I'll sand it down, and next thing you'll see is me doing a top coat on this. I'll see you then. Okay, so we got it all taped off and ready to do my pour. Okay, it looks like we got a good cover on that. I'm going to let that sit for 10 minutes, and then I'm going to blow some bubbles off of it, and then we'll cover her up. Okay, it's been about 2 hours, and I want to try and pull this tape off if I can. And it's very sticky. And I want to do this so that I don't hopefully get a distinctive line on that. Alright. I'm happy with that. So pop this back on. And let that sit for another 24 hours. Should be ready tomorrow to take off those cups. And there we have it. There's the finished product. And I decided to leave the back side of that frosted, i.e. when I sanded it down I didn't top coat that because I just wasn't really impressed with the colors the way they showed up when you look through it being clear. I'm kind of interested in what you guys think. I think I showed you earlier in the clip what it looked like just see-through, and I think the frosted back kind of gives it a little bit more depth. Let's see what we got here. So what I tried to capture was obviously the Skittles, and you can see the Skittles coming out of the packet are not puffed at all. What I tried to do was, as it touched the rainbow, I tried to make that just start to puff. See that one? This one here is just starting to puff. They're all just starting to open up as they go through the rainbow. Then obviously, as they go through past the rainbow, the magic has occurred and they are puffed and piling up at the bottom. I'm super happy with this. Let me get this zoomed out again. Just show you how thick this came out. There you go. See, it's all 3D effect in there. Then I left the back all frosted. 3D effect. I'm very happy with that. Super happy with that. Now what I'll do is I'll put some hangers, a wire hanger on the back of this, and hang that on the wall, and it'd be a beautiful piece of art, I think. I'm very happy with that. Let me get my smudges off of it. There you go. There you have it. Another great success from John and Bibbs. And you don't always have to just freeze dry food in your freeze dryer. You can make some beautiful pieces of art with it too. I got some more ideas coming up. And obviously I'm freeze drying still, so my viewers that wondering where the food recipes are, they'll be coming. But I got kind of tangled up in a couple of art projects, and I just wanted to enjoy myself, enjoy life, and that's what I did. So got a couple more things I want to do. One for Valentine's Day, since Valentine's Day is coming up, and there you have it. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, I'd appreciate a thumbs up, and really appreciate that subscribe button. Thanks to all my viewers that do that, do give me the thumbs up, and I'll see you next time.